First story. I thought my best friend's husband was the abuser, but then she confessed a shocking truth that destroyed our friendship forever. When Rachel dropped the bombshell about being the abuser in her own family, it shook me to my core. We had been best friends for years, but that night completely shattered my perception of her, and ultimately, our friendship. Rachel and I met in high school on the basketball team. She was confident, funny, and always the life of the party. We quickly became inseparable, going to every event together and turning heads wherever we went. She was 3 years older than me, so by the time she got married and had a baby, I was just finishing high school. Despite the changes in her life, we stayed close. Even after I left for college, I'd make time to visit her on weekends, and we'd still hit the clubs like we always did. But Rachel's life wasn't as picture-perfect as it seemed. She confided in me over the years about her husband's supposed infidelity and abuse. She painted a heartbreaking image of a man who cheated on her and even mistreated their young daughter. I was horrified and often begged her to leave him. Every time she'd assure me she had a plan, but it would take time to execute. So I supported her the best I could, taking her and her daughter out during the day to lighten their spirits and giving her nights off to let loose and have fun. Toward my junior year of college, I planned a beach weekend with my college friends and invited Rachel along. I wanted to give her a break from her stressful home life. We booked an Airbnb months in advance and planned every detail. Rachel was initially excited, but as the trip got closer, she began making excuses. She'd quit her job a few months earlier, drained her savings, and seemed to be struggling to keep her life together. I offered to cover all her expenses for the weekend, thinking it might help her recharge. The night of the trip, I drove an hour from campus to pick her up, only to find her embroiled in a screaming match with her husband, Matt. He claimed he knew nothing about the trip, while Rachel argued it was none of his business. She put her daughter, Lily, in my car, and we dropped her off at Rachel's mom's house on the way. Matt kept calling, accusing me of trying to force her to leave. Rachel ignored him, but the tension in the car was thick. When we finally arrived at the Airbnb, Rachel began to relax. My 2 college friends, Emily and Sarah, were already there, and the vibe was laid back and fun. We caught up, laughed, and started the night with music and drinks. Later, Emily and Sarah brought out some shrooms, which we had planned in advance. Rachel eagerly joined in. As the high set in, the mood was light and carefree, until Rachel's confession changed everything. She started crying, her words spilling out in a torrent. "I lied," she said. "Matt never cheated. He never abused me or Lily. It was me." Her admission left me frozen. She detailed how she'd been the one screaming, hitting, and berating her husband. Worse, she admitted she often took her frustrations out on Lily. She described moments of blacking out in anger, only to wake up and find Lily cowering in a corner, terrified. Rachel said she'd see bruises on Lily and feel a sickening guilt, but it didn't stop her from repeating the cycle. I was horrified. This wasn't the friend I thought I knew. Her words cut deep, especially when she admitted she didn't even know if she could stop. I urged her to seek help immediately, for herself and, more importantly, for Lily. We spent hours talking, making a plan for her to get into therapy and have Lily stay with her mom while she worked on herself. I couldn't ignore the weight of what I'd just learned, but I was determined to at least help her take the first step toward change. The next morning, Rachel was gone. She had called Matt in the middle of the night and left without a word. I tried reaching out, but she ignored my calls and texts. When she finally responded, she acted as if our conversation had never happened. "What are you talking about?" she asked, feigning confusion. It was as if she wanted to erase the entire night from her memory. In the days that followed, our friendship unraveled. Rachel became hostile, accusing me of making her look like a bad mom by forcing her to leave Lily for the weekend. She badmouthed me to our mutual friends, but none of them believed her lies. They had seen her manipulative tendencies before and stood by me. Ultimately, Rachel cut me out completely. She blocked me on everything and moved away with her family. I haven't heard from her in 6 years, and to this day, I think about Lily, the innocent victim in all of this. I hope Rachel got the help she so desperately needed, but I'll never know. Our friendship was beyond repair, and I had to walk away for my own peace of mind. Second story. My mom asked my fiancé to cook Thanksgiving turkey, then exploded when she bought one instead. Now my family's furious, claiming we ruined the holiday. The shocking reason behind it will leave you speechless. A few weeks ago, I got engaged to my amazing fiancée, Lily. At 29, I can confidently say I've never been more sure about anything in my life. She's the person I want to spend forever with. But as much as I adore her, there's one glaring issue. My mom has never been a fan of Lily. It's not that Lily has done anything wrong. She's brilliant, driven, and fiercely independent. But those qualities don't exactly align with my mom's idea of the perfect wife. My mom's old school. She believes in traditional gender roles, and Lily, well, she's not that kind of person. She doesn't cook gourmet meals or fuss over home decor, which are two things my mom takes a lot of pride in. Over the years, my mom's expressed doubts about Lily, saying she wouldn't be a dedicated wife and mother. I've always dismissed these remarks as unfair and outdated. I love Lily for who she is, and that's never going to change. This year, we went to my family's house for Thanksgiving. Normally, my mom takes full control of the menu. It's her domain. So, when Lily called ahead to ask if there was anything we could bring, we were both surprised when my mom suggested that Lily handle the turkey. Now let me give you some context. Lily's experience in the kitchen is limited. She's not a cook, and she's never pretended to be. When Lily voiced her concerns about possibly ruining the turkey, my mom brushed it off, saying, "You've got to learn sometime." Lily was understandably stressed but wanted to contribute. With her hectic work schedule and lack of culinary confidence, we decided to pick up a beautifully prepared turkey from Whole Foods. Lily was relieved and even a little excited that she'd found a way to contribute without the added stress. When we arrived at my parents' house, things went downhill fast. My mom immediately asked Lily how she prepared the turkey. Lily, feeling a little nervous, admitted that we had bought it pre-cooked. My mom's expression soured. She went quiet, but the air was heavy with disapproval. Then, in front of everyone, she voiced her disappointment. She said she trusted Lily to cook the turkey herself, and accused her of not respecting our family traditions. Lily tried to explain, apologizing and saying she only wanted to ensure the turkey was something everyone could enjoy. But my mom wasn't having it. She started whispering to her sisters, casting side glances at Lily, and generally making the atmosphere unbearable. I pulled my mom aside to ask what was going on. Her response infuriated me. She accused Lily of being immature and unwilling to grow up. Then she went a step further, telling me she didn't think Lily was right for me and questioning her ability to care for me or any future kids we might have. At that point, I was done. I told my mom that Lily's cooking skills, or lack thereof, were irrelevant to me. I love Lily for who she is, and if my mom couldn't respect her, then we wouldn't stay for dinner. My mom doubled down, saying Lily was the disrespectful one for not even attempting to cook the turkey. She called me delusional for defending her. Without another word, I grabbed the turkey, told Lily we were leaving, and walked out the door. We drove across town to her parents' house and spent the rest of the evening with her family. Despite everything, we managed to salvage the night and had a great time. But the whole situation left us both heartbroken. Lily felt like she had ruined everything, and I had to reassure her repeatedly that this was entirely on my mom. The fallout didn't stop there. About half an hour ago, my sister Emily called me. She was livid, saying we'd ruined Thanksgiving by leaving, and by taking the turkey with us. I told her I didn't think they'd want the turkey since my mom had made such a fuss over it. Emily said it was all a big misunderstanding. She claimed cooking is how my mom shows love, and that she saw Lily's decision to buy the turkey as a lack of effort to bond with the family. She wants me to apologize, but I'm struggling with that. My mom has never once asked me to cook a turkey, so why suddenly demand that Lily do it? It feels like an unfair double standard and an attempt to mold Lily into someone she's not. I'm torn because I wanted to keep the peace, but I also feel like we're owed an apology, not the other way around. What really bothers me is how this situation seems less about a turkey and more about control. My mom doesn't dislike Lily because she bought a turkey. She dislikes her because she doesn't fit her narrow definition of a perfect partner for me. Lily is more than enough for me, and I refuse to let my mom's outdated expectations dictate our relationship. So now I'm stuck. Do I extend an olive branch and apologize to keep the family together, or do I stand firm and let them know this kind of behavior won't fly? Honestly, I'm exhausted from trying to make everyone happy. Am I the one in the wrong here? Third story. I sacrificed my dream life in Europe for my boyfriend. After 6 years, he still hasn't proposed. He promises he loves me, but now I'm wondering if I should leave and never come back. 6 years. That's how long I've been with my boyfriend. It sounds like a lot, right? Enough time to figure out if you want to spend your life with someone. Enough time to build trust, stability, and a future together. But here I am, 6 years in, questioning if this relationship has been worth everything I've sacrificed along the way. 2 years ago, we had a serious conversation. I told him outright that I didn't want to wait more than 5 years for a proposal. I wasn't trying to pressure him. I just needed clarity about where we were heading. At the time, we were living in France, a dream location for me. I secretly hoped he'd pop the question while we were there. The romance of Paris, the charm of the countryside, it all felt so perfect. But the proposal never came. When we moved back to the US, I thought, okay, maybe he's waiting for the right moment here. We got an apartment together, settled into a routine, and as we approached our 5-year anniversary, I started feeling that familiar hope again. I thought for sure he'd propose before we renewed our lease. After all, I had put my dreams on hold for him, left Europe, adjusted my career plans, and supported him through his PhD. But no. Another milestone came and went, and still, nothing. At that point, I had to draw a line. I told him I wasn't going to keep entering long-term commitments like renewing a lease if he wasn't serious about marrying me. He promised a proposal, and yet here I am, 9 months later, still waiting. Here's the kicker. I'm now living in one of the most expensive cities in the world because of his job. I don't have any friends or family here. My job is remote, but I'm stuck working in a time zone that's wreaking havoc on my schedule and mental health. The isolation, the financial strain, and the emotional toll are getting unbearable. So, a couple of months ago, I sat him down. I told him point blank, if he doesn't want to get engaged, that's fine, but I need to move back closer to my family. I can't keep sacrificing everything for a relationship that feels one-sided. He swore up and down that he wanted to marry me. He even said he had a ring and was 100% committed to proposing, but just hadn't found the right moment. I told him the truth. Being strung along like this had made the whole idea of getting engaged feel unappealing. I didn't want a pity proposal or something he felt forced into doing. I explained how much I'd given up for him, my life in Europe, my career stability, my social circle, and how it felt like he couldn't even respect the one boundary I'd set. A clear timeline for a proposal. To prove he was serious, he went and brought out the ring, or at least a box with what I assumed was a ring inside. He offered to propose right then and there. But that's not what I wanted. I didn't want a spur-of-the-moment gesture born out of guilt. I wanted him to plan something thoughtful, something meaningful. So I told him no. He promised me once again that he'd do it right. That was over 2 months ago. Now, we're heading to his hometown for Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful place, and he's planned a trip to a scenic spot while we're there. For a brief moment, I thought maybe, just maybe, this would finally be it. But then, the day before we left, I casually asked if he was getting a haircut. He shrugged and said, "No, why?" That's when it hit me. He wasn't planning anything. He hadn't even thought about it. I'm supposed to fly home for Christmas in mid-December, and honestly, I'm considering just not coming back. I know what some people will say. If you really loved him, you'd wait. Or, my partner and I took X amount of years, and it worked out great. But the truth is, I've been waiting. I've been patient. And in that time, I've uprooted my life, drained my savings, and battled loneliness in a city that doesn't feel like home, all for someone who can't seem to follow through on his promises. I've talked to a few people about this, and the opinions are mixed. Some think it's a shame to even consider leaving because my boyfriend is such a great guy. But is he really? A great guy wouldn't let his partner feel abandoned and undervalued. A great guy wouldn't ignore the sacrifices I've made for him or break the timelines we agreed on. I'm at my breaking point. So, here's the question. Would you leave or would you stay and keep hoping things will change?